Hi, my name is Eric. I'm the Director of Field Engineering in APAC at FireMon, and today I'm really excited to share with you our latest product, FireMon Insights. So, FireMon Insights is a cloud-based SaaS add-on to Security Manager. So, by sending certain data to the cloud, we can now provide actionable visibility into your policy KPIs. And based on what KPIs matter to you the most, you can customize what appears on your Insights dashboard. And the best thing is, since FireMon has so many customers in so many different sectors, including some of the biggest names, it allows us to help you benchmark or compare your environment against both your industry peers and the top players in your business. And now that everyone is talking about AI, it's only natural that FireMon also gets into the game as well. But an AI chatbot really makes a lot of sense for us and for you as the user. So by combining more than 20 years of experience working with the largest companies in the world and with the vast data sets that we have, the AI is able to take your question in natural language and provide not just an answer, but actionable recommendations specific to your environment on how to improve your policies. And with all those KPIs clearly visible on your dashboard, FireMon Insights is a really easy way to provide the ROI of the FireMon solution that you have deployed. And the best thing is, it's free, at least for now, while we continue to work on improving the product. But being a SaaS product, it really means that we are able to add features quickly based on customer input. So please feel free to provide feedback to us. And FireMon Insights is a unique product in the NSPM space, and no one else really has it. So we really encourage you to give it a try to see for yourself the value that it brings. And now, besides showing you, the screenshot on the right side, I would like to actually show you an actual demo of FireMon Insights. So let me just pull it up. Okay, here we go. So this is actually the dashboard of FireMon Insights. So as you can see, just starting from the top, we basically this environment has 194 devices with over 9,000 rules. So right at the top, you can see the most important metrics and the areas of concern. So things like how many devices have more than one bad revision, which could indicate some issues with your environment, and also things like how many critical control failures, right? So there are quite a number of critical control failures, as you can see. So you can see that here we are comparing or rather comparing your current statistic, not just like against, like a week ago, but also against similar organizations, right? So for all these important metrics, right, we are comparing you against like your historical, statistic as well as against, your peers, right? And of course, you are able to view, all these statistics across different time frames, like 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year. So, as I mentioned, so actually, there are quite a number of like key statistics, right, that you can see below, right? So all these are pretty standard. The number of devices, number of rules, number of rules that are redundant, shadowed, and so on, right? And also the complexity against all these are actually the device groups. And over here, you can see, these are the different so-called compliance control failures. So for those of you who may not be that familiar with FireOne Policy Manager, right? So what we provide are actually, not just out-of-the-box compliance assessments, right? Like PCI, ISO, and so on. We actually allow users to easily customize their own compliance control as well, right? So all those control failures, or at least the number, right? The stats are actually shown over here. And if you go down below, this is where you can actually see more KPIs, right? So across all these KPIs, again, we are showing you, we're actually comparing you, right, against your peers, right? So, for example, if you look at critical control failures, right? So based on this number, you are actually worse off than 87% of the FireMon customers. So I think that kind of makes sense because you have so many compliance control failures. So from here, this actually tells you that maybe you have to kind of zoom in right on the control failures, find out which firewalls they are happening in, exactly what kind of control failures they are, right? And we provide all those details in our security manager module, right? So basically, all these KPIs that we see over here, they are actually all customizable, right? So you can actually customize all these KPIs. So if you kind of click on this, then you can see, what are the KPIs that are, I would say, of most importance to you, right? So, for example, maybe for you, you're more concerned about, the complexity. You're concerned about overly permissive rules with, accept and any in source their service and so on, right? So, depending on what actually matters to you the most, as you can see over here, we are doing that comparison against, for you against, your peers, right, across all these different metrics. And of course, you can actually move up and down, right? So, for example, if you kind of think that complexity is actually, more important, you can just move it up, right? And then, that would actually, bring this KPI, higher when you actually go back to the, dashboard, right? So, and of course, now let's come to the most exciting part of Insights, which is the AI dashboard. So again, with AI chatbot, I mean. So with the AI chatbot, right, this is where you can actually ask, questions in natural language, right? So you will get not only answers, but recommendations based on our vast experience and expertise. So for example, you can just, start with a general question. I think I've already have, asked some before, right? So do any of my rules allow SSH from the internet? Right. So what happens is that when you actually make a query over here, um, basically our cloud would actually send API call right into your FireMon instance, right, to actually grab certain data. So later on, so I'm sure that may raise some kind of concerns maybe about data retention, right? So I'll address that later on in my FAQ. But the point is, we don't grab everything, right? We grab only the required information that's needed to actually answer your question. And with that, we can actually give you not just the answer to your question, but we also give you recommendations, right? We give you a summary, we give you, recommendations on what you can actually do and why, whatever you have searched for and the answer that we gave, right, may raise some concerns, right? So that's actually, the value that we actually provide, right? We're way beyond what we actually, provided before within Policy Manager, right? And of course, you can also ask questions that are a bit more specific. Like you can ask, are there any rules within my firewalls that restrict SSH access to certain IPs, right? So over here, we looked within your environment, right, across all your firewalls, right, and we actually told you, what are the specific, rules, right, that actually restrict SSH, right, to, so it's actually all these rules actually over here. And recently, we also hooked up, our chatbot to our docs, right? So, for example, you can ask, how do I add a Palo Alto firewall to Security Manager? So what happens is that because we have now linked our chatbot to our documentation, right? So that allows us to actually give you the steps, right? So as some of you may know, quite recently, sometime this year, we actually make our FireMon guides public and online. So if you go over to docs.firemon.com, you can actually now access all our latest documentation online, right? So it's no longer PDFs, right? It's actually online. So over here, we are basically, querying that same documentation, right, to give you the specific steps that you need to actually onboard, for example, this Palo Alto firewall, right? So no doubt, when it comes to, finding out how to how to do certain things. Of course, Firemon software is already pretty, if you ask me, it's pretty user friendly already, right? But with this really, makes the Firemon, product, right, as a whole, right, even easier to use, right? Because now you can, easily, get answers to, questions involving like how to do ABC, right? Easily from here. Right, so this is just a teaser, right, for the AI chatbot. Obviously you can see for yourself, that it's pretty powerful, right? Because again, it gives you answers, not just answers actually, right? It also gives you recommendations as well, right, on what you can do based on what we actually discovered, right? So that's the AI chatbot. Definitely, if you were to onboard as a user, right, feel free to check it out. I think this is really pretty cool stuff. So that's it for the quick demo, and I'll just jump back to my PowerPoint slides. So let's maybe go through some FAQs. So I think the first question, pretty obvious. How do I sign up? So that's the question that I hope you ask, right? So make sure you're on FMOS 2025.1.0 or later, right? So if that's the case, you will actually see a register button, right? That's actually on the admission, settings and insights page. And of course, since um one thing is that FireMon Insights does require you to actually, have access or provide access from your, you know, security manager instance, right, to our cloud, right? So that's something that you actually need to provide, right? TCP 443, to a set of URL. So definitely feel free to let us know if you need, more details, exactly, right, on what you actually need to allow. So we are more than happy to actually assist you on that. And I think the question number two is, would everything be sent to the cloud? Right? So the answer is no, right? We only send certain information to the cloud and we anonymize it, right? So because as you can see from the insights dashboard, we only display certain key metrics, right? We don't need to know like the details of the rules itself, right? All those information about, for example, how many critical control failures and so on, those are already captured within Security Manager, right? So it's just about sending those, summarized data into the cloud. Of course, when you actually ask questions via the AI chatbot, for example, you ask, what are the rules that allow SSH from, the internet and so on, right? Obviously, that means that we do need to query your actual firewall policies, right? In which case, again, we don't grab everything, right? We actually just make certain API calls from the cloud to your on-prem instance, right, to actually fetch information. And that information is actually stored only for a few days, right? We don't store it forever, right? We just store it for a few days in case you need to reference, those results, right? And then, basically we actually discard it after a few days, right? So again, understand that there may be concerns, right, about this whole like data, storage, right, issue, right? So definitely, let us know, right, if you have any concerns, right? If you actually need very detailed information about, what exactly what is stored, what is being sent from your on-prem instance, right, to the cloud and so on, right? Just let me know, like, or let us know actually, right? So we'll be more than happy to actually, share with you the information, right, so as to allay your concerns. So that's it for our session. Yeah, please feel free to reach out to FireMon for any questions. And thank you so much for watching this video. And we hope to see you on FireMon Insights very soon.